You're listening to the nation's best Ballers and Recruits podcast with Shane Larson. Our goal is to provide must-listen content to fans of NFL, college, high school, and youth football. I'm your host, and I'm excited to have you with us. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome out to the nation's best Ballers and Recruits podcast. Today, we're joined by a very special guest. His name is Keith Washington II, and he's from West Virginia. Now, he was a cornerback, two-year starter over at West Virginia. And, Keith, we're excited to get to know you a little bit better and see what you're up to right now as we get ready for the NFL draft. So, Keith, thanks so much for joining the show.
Yeah, appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Now, Keith, we're getting ready for the NFL draft. We're going to get to that point in just a second, but we kind of want to get to know you a little bit more, kind of what your journey has been like, you know, getting to West Virginia. You know, it's been kind of what you would call a non-traditional, you know, route to where you're at right now. Can you talk about your collegiate football experience from the beginning to, you know, when you ended it at West Virginia?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You know, signing with Michigan straight out of high school, played there for 2 years. You know, I made the decision to transfer, and I actually didn't want to sit out a year, so I went junior college down at Copiah Lincoln in Mississippi. Since we got re-recruited again, had a few schools on me, and you know, I felt like West Virginia was the right place for me to be, and you know, it was the best move.
Awesome, yeah. So that's what I was looking at your whole entire career. It's awesome that you know you went from a big time school and then you went the JUCO route to continue playing, make sure you kept your, you know. I guess a lot of guys go that route to continue getting the reps, staying in game shape, getting their film out there and make sure they're staying ready. And you had that awesome opportunity come about with West Virginia, and you spent 2 seasons there. Talk to us about some of your, you know, experiences at West Virginia and how you grew as a player those 2 years at West Virginia.
Oh man, you know, coming in, the guys were welcoming, the coaching staff was welcoming. You know, I got to actually dislocated my thumb, you know, right before we were supposed to have our spring game. So, you know, it kind of set me back a little bit. But, you know, I got the chance to play on the field, just special teams and a little bit on third down packages until, you know, I was finally able to start that 4th game versus Texas Tech. And, you know, that's just kind of what I feel like was the turning point of my career and kind of took me over the edge, you know, just to get that game experience, and, you know, make a few plays in that game. And, you know, it just kind of gave me that confidence that further my career.
That's awesome. Now, the reason I'm really excited that we're talking to you, Keith, is because in the Big 12, it's well known as an offensive league, if you will, right? That's what the media tries to portray it as such, an offensive powerhouse. So to play defense in an offensive powerhouse league like that must be very difficult because you got a lot of pass-heavy teams out there. Talk about that, what it was like playing against some of the most, you know, I guess the top-tier offenses in college football.
Oh, man, it was you know, it was a challenge every week. You know, you got to be on your A game in the Big 12, especially playing defensive back. You know, every week you're going up against Baylor, got top-notch receivers, or Oklahoma and Kyler Murray and, you know, Hollywood Brown and guys like that. So, you know, but I enjoyed it, you know, and it kept me on my A game, like I said, and, you know, it allowed me to showcase my talent.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome. And you had quite a successful career over there. Really, really good stats. And then you ended up going, you know, into your pro day. Talk to us about your pro day so the rest of us can get to see how well you actually did at your pro day. I mean, rumor is you're freaking fast, man. So talk to us a little bit about your pro day.
Yeah, so, you know, pro day was originally scheduled for March 25th. You know, it got canceled because of the virus. Stuff that's going on, so some up with the 3 other guys went out there and you know, we just performed. We did all the measurements and everything like the scouts and everybody wanted us to do it, and you know, it was fun, man. So I hit a few numbers that I wanted to hit. You know, overall I'm good with the performance.
Absolutely, man. You had quite a good pro day, and that's the thing is, hold on, is my microphone's kind of cutting out a little bit, but yeah, quite the good pro day. And now we're getting ready for the NFL draft. It's a weird state that we're in right now, Keith. It's one of those situations like prepping for the NFL draft is a little bit different than it was maybe just even a year ago, because right now we're kind of in this weird state in the United States where there's not a lot of movement going on. We can't get out of our houses as much. But I'm curious, how are you working to stay not only physically ready for the next level, but also mentally ready for the next level?
Oh man, of course, physically ready. I'm working out at the high school. The soccer field's right outside my high school that I went to, Prattville, Alabama. I got my own little garage, weight room set up with a boxing bag and stuff in there that I had since I was 10 years old. My dad got me. But as far as mentally, man, you just get on YouTube or go back and watch some old games. Study the greats. The Tyrann Matthews, the Richard Shermans, and guys like that. So this is what I've been doing.
I love it, man. I love to see that you're putting the work in, even when the times are tough, man. And we kind of want to get to know you a little bit outside of football too, Keith. What's some of the hobbies that you got outside of playing the sport of football? I mean, obviously that's a huge part of your life, and it will continue to be as you play at the next level. But what's one of your hobbies that you enjoy doing outside of football?
Oh man, I'm a big video game guy. I'm a big video game guy. Xbox. I play it all, Apex, Call of Duty, stuff like that. And then I'm just watching movies. So if I ain't working out or training or something about football, I'm playing the video game or I'm watching movies.
Man, it's awesome to hear because gaming's a huge thing, man. Even on my own show, I've been, I've gotten into the esports realm, talking to a lot of people in the esports realm and how much it actually impacts them and helps them for their regular lives in sport, like their traditional sports, because it keeps your hand-eye coordination going. It keeps you relaxed. It keeps your mental state at a high level. It's just a really good way to go about it. So it's cool to see you enjoy playing games too, because you can relate to a lot of people that way. That's awesome, man. So come the NFL draft, what's the plan for draft weekend? What are you planning to do for draft weekend? And where are you expecting to go? I mean, we've got people talking about you in the 4th, 5th round. I mean, numbers are being thrown out there, but what do you expect and what do you expect to bring to the team that does take you on? And what do you expect going into the next level? Are you nervous, excited? What's the feelings that you have right now?
I wouldn't say nervous, man. It's just kind of like it's a wondery type of feeling. Kind of just you never really know where you're gonna go. Like you said, I heard all types of stuff from some people 3rd round, 4th round to free agency. But like what I'm doing right now is I'm just controlling the controllables. I'm handling what I can on my end, and I'm staying ready. So if that call does come, and if a team does decide to pick me up, or when a team decides to pick me up, I'll be ready to contribute. Whatever that team needs me to do. So that's what they're gonna get out of me. A guy that's gonna come in, contribute, do what the team needs, and then gonna make plays. I'm a playmaker.
I love that, man. So I was gonna ask you that, Keith. The line has you at 6'1", 180. I know obviously those numbers are skewed every once in a while. Depends, weight fluctuates. Height always gets either exaggerated or downplayed.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, what you bring from a physical standpoint. What's your best attribute as an athlete on the football field that you can bring to a team? I mean, throughout your entire career, high school, college, whatever, and what you're going to bring to the next level. What do you feel is your best attribute as an athlete?
Man, I gotta say instincts. Playing quarterback, it's a lot of times you get the ball and you got to find the right hole and anticipate when that hole's gonna open up and run through it, or that passing lane's gonna open up. And it's the same thing at DB. You always got to use your technique and your eyes. But I feel like one thing that I got a lot of other guys don't have is instincts and the ability to know that this is where the ball gonna be and take a chance and make a play on it.
I really respect that you mentioned that. Instincts are super underrated, or at least not talked about enough, because in the sports world, period, you can make up for a lot of things. You see a lot of athletes out there that they're not nearly as athletic as you, but there's a lot of athletes out there that aren't that athletic. They lack in certain areas, but their instincts actually are what keep them competing at the highest level, because they understand the game. They can read things before they happen. And a lot of that comes from studying, just repetition, but also the film room. I'm curious, what does it look like for you, Keith, when you're preparing for a game, especially like when you were in the Big 12, you're playing some top tier schools. What does the week look like in preparation, whether that's weightlifting, film study, practice, whatever? What did it look like for you? And I'm just curious what it's like from an athlete's perspective.
Yeah, in West Virginia, they try to lift weights in the morning, at least two, 3 times a week, a game week. just to keep your muscles up in shape and, keep your strength under you. But, mostly coach will come in on Monday and give us the game plan and toss out here's the guys that we're going up against. You kind of just go through the film. But for me personally, one thing that I would say my dad said, every receiver that I go up against, you just study them on film on run plays. Like the first thing I do is I watch all the run plays of the opposing team, and I want to see how they coming off the ball. What their stance is like, if they're gonna come off if they're an aggressive blocker, passive blocker. That just let me know the mentality of the type of player that I'm gonna be going up against that week. And like I said, any little key that I could get, any advantage I could get headed into that week.
That is gold. That's why I knew you were dropping a golden nugget there. That's why I needed to have that recorded because, man, I'll tell you what, the fact that you just said that shows so much more than just, I watch film. It shows so much more to the game for you. Like it shows why your instincts are so high because you study those intricacies of the game. The fact that you're looking at a receiver and what they do on run plays helps in all aspects of the game when you're defending them. You get to see their tendencies. You get to see what they do. And that is super important. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, especially the fans on the outside looking in. They don't realize like how important it is to study run plays and what that receiver does on a run play, just to understand their tendencies. I think that's awesome, Keith. So thank you for sharing that. Now, we want to know, this is the time for you to talk yourself up, man. As we wrap up the interview, this is your shot here to tell us why you would consider yourself the nation's best baller.
Man, I would consider myself the nation's best baller because, just look at my journey, man. I've been through Michigan, top-tier program, went all the way down to the JUCO level, and had to grind my way out and make it back up to the Division I level. Not a lot of guys did that, and then it just showed my dedication to the game. And then when you put the tape on, man, I went up against some of the best receivers in the country, some of the best quarterbacks, in the history of football. And I've made plays, man, and when I make plays, I make them in big-time games.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Keith Washington II. He is from West Virginia University. He's going to be in the NFL draft, getting ready for it right now. He has quite the story. I hope you guys enjoyed his interview. And Keith, one more time, thank you so much for joining the Nation's Best Ballers and Recruits podcast.
Oh, no, I appreciate you guys for having me, man.
Absolutely. You take care. And you guys, we'll talk to you next week.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning into this episode with Keith Washington, the DB from West Virginia, as he gets ready for the NFL draft. Make sure to go follow him and check out his story. We can't wait to see where he goes. Now, if you like this interview, please make sure to share it with your friends and family and anyone who's a fan of the sport of football. Get ready for the NFL draft. Subscribe to the show, and we'll be talking to you next week.